On this edition of Lexington Now, 2 new WayPoint Centers, wildlife in McConnell Springs, and tips for keeping your pets safe from the summer heat. Hi, I'm Tim Gipson, and welcome to Lexington Now for the week of July 5th, 2021. First off, a special plea from the Lexington Humane Society. They are currently at capacity for dogs and cats. If you can offer a foster home, or perhaps a forever home, or even give a donation, please give the Humane Society a call. Last week, the United Way of the Bluegrass launched 2 new WayPoint Centers in Lexington. Our cameras were there for the ribbon cutting.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We're here with our host, Timothy Johnson, United Way President and CEO, Susan Elkington, Toyota Kentucky President. Thank you all. First of all, I want to congratulate United Way on the creation of the WayPoint Centers. And thank you to Toyota Kentucky for making this possible. Like many initiatives inside City Hall, WayPoint Centers relies on strong partnerships. And you know, if we learned one thing during the pandemic, we learned partnerships are what made everything work. We can't do this without partnerships. So the city has been a partner with the United Way for years. And today we're expanding that partnership by providing homes for 2 WayPoint Centers. They are being established here in the East End, West End at our Black and Williams Neighborhood Center, and in the East End at our Charles Young Center, among other locations. So these centers will offer a variety of services and support for families and individuals living in underserved and low-income neighborhoods. These centers address several of the recommendations made by my Commission on Racial Justice and Equality. We all know that real change will take all of us working together. And through the racial justice recommendations and initiatives, like the WayPoint Centers, we are truly building a Lexington that's better for everyone.
We particularly appreciate the strong support that we've enjoyed with LFUCG, and we want to thank all of our friends, our supporters, our donors, community members for being here today to help us kick off your United Way and this new initiative. WayPoint's mission is simple. It's to create an access point for families and individuals to provide vital programming to people living in underserved neighborhoods, including the West End of Lexington, where we are assembled here today. United Way to Bluegrass's goal is for this exciting new initiative to help area residents overcome the academic, social, and economic challenges to success, and to do it in a 2-generational approach focused on both children and families. The center will offer individuals and families a waypoint, or a stopping point, on their journey towards financial stability, better physical and mental health, and long-term success. WayPoint Centers will coordinate an ecosystem of partners and programs to have the greatest impact on families and a place-based anchor in their communities. So these centers will help families and communities to build and foster greater resiliency and a fuller toolkit when the next challenge happens, whether nationally or locally. It's not if, but when.
One of the things I think about is with Toyota is we have respect for people. And respect for people basically means as a company, we cannot succeed if our team members don't succeed, if our communities can't succeed. And in order to do that, you have to provide resources. But more importantly, it's about having a heart and caring. And I truly believe that this access point, this waypoint, provides the resources. So I really believe that center is instrumental resource and critical investment, and that's why Toyota has chosen to make this investment. And we chose it with a partner that we've had for so many years, because we know that we have to have that heart and that caring to actually make it happen. And I challenge other businesses to help join this, because it can't do it alone. It takes us all as a community to really, truly make a change. And I feel strongly that we can make that change here in Lexington. You know, Mayor, I really appreciate everything you've already done, but we can really make this change. And this is one of those steps to help make that happen. And we will continue to partner, not just with funds, but also other ways to help make that change because we care too.
Next up, we bring you part 4 of our series, Wildlife in McConnell Springs. This week, Stephen Rogers talks about the animals most commonly found in and around the park's wetlands and springs.
My name is Stephen Rogers. I'm Recreation Manager. I've worked at McConnell Springs for 7 years now. As far as land animals that can't fly, probably aquatic turtles are the most commonly seen. So if you go to our wetland pond, you're more than likely going to see a slider turtle in the summertime, so a red-eared slider, and a few other species, map turtles and common map turtles that live down in our pond. So they're pretty common to see as well. So we have 2 pet turtles that we've had at the park for a long time. They're our education animals. They're both red-eared sliders. We collectively call them the boys. We don't have individual names for them. You may see them in our fountain pond during the summertime. Other than that, we don't have any pet turtles. We'll occasionally keep a turtle for a short amount of time, so we have a box turtle that we'll keep right now. We have one. We're going to release that in a few weeks. We'll let it go. We mostly just keep it to educate people on that type of species of turtle. The turtles that are in our pond and that live out in the park, we do not feed them, we do not take care of them, we do not manage them. If they're injured, we would definitely try to help them out, but we let them live on their own. So we encourage people not to feed the animals at McConnell Springs, and especially the turtles. We do have fish in the pond, so we've had a lot of smaller fish for years, some small minnows and mosquito fish. Over the past few years, some larger fish have made their way into the pond. They can do that a few different ways. So our wetland pond is not connected to a body of water, so they didn't swim into the pond. They were either introduced by people or they made their way into the pond on a duck's foot as an egg. So that's a way that fish can move around through bodies of water as an egg. They can get stuck to a bird's foot or to the feathers of a bird, and they can be moved around from body of water in that way too. Believe it or not, there actually are fish that live in the springs. So if you look at the blue hole, the water's typically clear unless we've had a really heavy rain. You'll actually see fish swimming inside of there sometimes. So the fish can swim down underground. They can go down about 15 feet and they can move back and forth in underground channels. So it may look like a small pond, just a small body of water, but the fish are very small themselves. So they're a small species of minnow and they're able to move back and forth, and they have considerable range. So they have a pretty good opportunity to move around. And then because it's a body of water in a forested area, you do see a lot of animals that come around the spring to get water. So you see frogs that live in the springs all the time, but you'll see tracks from raccoon, possum, deer, a lot of terrestrial animals as well. The frogs that we have at McConnell Springs, typically you're going to hear them down at our wetland pond. You will see them around the blue hole and around the boils and the other bodies of water. But if you go down to the wetland pond in the evening, you're probably going to hear a really, really deep croak, which probably comes from a bullfrog. They're our largest species of frogs. They're very large. And we also have another species that I see and hear commonly at our wetland, which is a green frog. The green frog, a nickname for it is a banjo frog, and it kind of makes a sound like a banjo string being plucked. And so it's more of a doom, doom, doom. And then the bullfrog is a little bit deeper of a croak. They're very similar, they look very similar, but the bullfrog is a little bit larger. So there are larger 2 species down there, and at the blue hole, we have some smaller species, probably like a leopard frog. We do have mink at McConnell Springs. They're a small ferret-like animal. They are excellent swimmers. So you'll see them around our springs, around the pond. They just kind of showed up a few years ago, so we don't exactly know how they made it here, if they were relocated, if they just found the park, if a group just found the park. But they're interesting little animals. Of course, most people know that their fur is used in coats and shawls and things like that. But the reason that their fur is so soft and that we enjoy it is because it's designed to repel water. So the fur is very dense. It's got a very dense undercoat. And so as they swim underneath the water pretty much just repels off of their fur because they have natural oils on the fur as well. And so they're pretty much waterproof, and it helps insulate their body as well. So in the wintertime, they've got the thick fur that can help keep their body warm. And it's also going to keep them warm as they dive down in the water and try to swim away or try to catch food. So I've seen them around our springs where they can catch frogs and other small animals, and they've been seen quite a bit around our pond as well. For more information about the park that you may want to find about the wildlife, you can check out lexingtonky.gov and the McConnell Springs page. And then the Friends of McConnell Springs website has some really good, interesting information about the wildlife. And I would recommend people check out the McConnell Springs Flickr page. We have some beautiful shots on our Flickr page. So if you just search McConnell Springs Flickr, there's some beautiful shots of plants, wildlife, and even some of the events here at the park.
Coming up, some tips for keeping our four-legged friends safe in the heat, right after the break. Welcome back to Lexington Now. With temperatures outside rising, our pets may be struggling to keep their cool. Here are some tips to help them beat the heat.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
As the temperature continues to rise, many people are doing more and more outside activities. And like a lot of us, we like to spend our outdoor time with our pet. But we as humans take all kinds of precautions. Hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, a bottle of water. We sometimes forget about our four-legged friends like Max here, who are wearing a fur coat 24/7. To get some tips on how to help your pet beat the heat, I stopped by the Shaybell Veterinary Hospital for some advice.
The time that we see the most heat strokes is now, and so you would think June, July, August, but when dogs aren't acclimated to the weather and the weather changes, that's when we start seeing heat strokes. So April, May, I typically see more than the hottest months, which is kind of surprising. And so make sure fresh water is available. Don't keep them out, if it's over 70 or 80, limited exposure. If you have a very active dog, kind of limit their activity in the heat of the day. Brachycephalic dogs, so dogs with squish nose, Bostons, pugs, boxers, they don't handle the heat well. And so I wouldn't take them to the dog park or running or any outdoor activity, and from 10 in the morning till 5 at night on hot days, because they just can't tolerate the heat. In the heat of the day, keeping them on the grass is better than the hot concrete. Some dogs shouldn't be walked in the heat of the day just because it burns their pads, and so definitely stay off the black asphalt. Sometimes concrete is not terribly as hot as black because it doesn't attract the heat, but grass is going to be better for sure. The big thing to watch for is excessive panting is kind of a first sign. So if they can't get comfortable and they're trying to lay down and kicking their feet out and panting a whole lot, they're restless because they're getting overheated. A lot of times their gums will be really pink and injected, and more so than normal. Extreme cases, you'll start seeing vomiting, diarrhea. A lot of times they can have blood pass in their stool. End stages or convulsions can even cause death. And so if you start noticing that, you need to cool your dog off pretty fast and get them to the vet.
And if your pet's like Joey here, who likes to take long summer drives with his head out the window, you gotta make a plan to make sure your pet spends no time in an unattended hot car.
The hot weather becomes crucial time for animal welfare. What you want to make sure you always have handy is extra water for your dogs and cats. If you keep your dogs and cats outside, you want to definitely have an area constructed where they have adequate shade. And it's essential in this time of season not to leave your dogs or cats locked in hot vehicles. A lot of people just want to spend as much time with their beloved pets as possible, so they want to take them on errands with them, which we totally understand. But sometimes you do need to leave your pets at home or with trusted friends and family, because they can overheat really quickly in vehicles, and it is something that we do respond to. So we can potentially go out if your dog is in your car unattended. If you absolutely have to take your dog or cat with you in the car, make sure you have visible food and water present for them. It's not uncommon for us to do a temperature reading inside of a car and it to be above 100 degrees. So it can be extremely hot in there. That's why animals can get into stress a lot hotter, and especially a lot of small breeds that have more breathing issues can get hotter and into stress a lot quicker. So it is something we see very common. So it is important to just leave your pets at home if you can, but if not, always have that food and water available. Every call that we respond to is situational. We do respond to every single complaint that we get. Anything animal related, but especially when it's animal welfare concerns. And it just depends on a lot of different factors, how much history we have with that particular person, what condition their animal is, how bad of distress they're in. If it's something that can be fixed through education, we always want to do that. But if it's something that's beyond the point of education, then we do have every right on a cruelty case to issue a charge and seize the animal if we have to do that. But we prefer to work with the public and educate them to try to make sure that if it's a pet that they love, that they keep at home but in compliance. We rely 100% on the community to call us and tell us whenever they see an animal in distress, endangered, trapped, or possibly being abused. So please call us at 859-255-9033. That's where you'll get to our dispatcher, and we do have an animal control officer working 24/7. You can always visit our website for information, which is www.lfacc.org, or go on our Facebook page, but those are not for emergencies. If you have an emergency with an animal in distress, you should always call us.
Changes will be coming to Nicholasville Road. Chris Woodall and Kenzie Gleason provide an update on the Imagine Nicholasville Road project.
Imagine a Nicholasville Road that is safer and more enjoyable for everyone. Whether you're driving or walking, or riding a bicycle or the bus. Imagine a street with shade trees, sidewalks, and better crossings. One where running an errand on your bike doesn't feel dangerous, and a bus comes by often to take you to your destination. Our community has helped craft this vision as we reimagine Nicholasville Road together. And with your help, we'll help work to make this a reality. As our city grows and changes over time, adding more housing, more jobs, more people, we are experiencing the growing pains of more traffic congestion, as every thriving city does. But we find ourselves at a crossroads, where widening major corridors like Nicholasville Road is both difficult and expensive, and won't solve our congestion problems in the long term. Over the next 20 years, we want to guide our growth and our city's transportation investments to transform Nicholasville Road from a street that people avoid to a destination that people want to visit. Nicholasville Road is one of the city's main arteries, running from downtown Lexington to Jessamine County. It serves both local and commuter trips, connecting some of Lexington's top destinations from Fayette Mall to the UK campus, Central Baptist Hospital, and downtown. It crosses through rural, suburban, and urban settings. It carries as much traffic as many interstates and spans 10 lanes at its widest point. Recognizing this challenge, we engaged thousands of residents in public meetings, online surveys, and focus groups to discuss how we can both serve and work to reduce the growing demand for trips along the corridor. The resulting plan has three main emphasis areas: creating a more complete street, implementing high-quality bus rapid transit, and incentivizing walkable, transit-oriented development, or TOD.
Creating a more complete street means elevating the importance, quality, and safety of facilities for everyone, regardless of their travel mode. Complete streets have sidewalks, bike trails, transit shelters, and safe places to cross. They work to provide good traffic flow for cars and buses, but also discourage speeding, and they work to reduce vehicular conflict points in order to improve safety. One of the most exciting goals of the plan is implementing bus rapid transit, or BRT, which is a fast and convenient bus service, with buses arriving and departing from transit stations along the corridor as often as every 10 minutes. BRT on Nicholasville Road would include 14 stations from downtown to Brannon Crossing. The plan provides a roadmap and next steps for how we can achieve BRT service in the future, including the need for road improvements, operational plans, funding, additional community input, and support. Lastly, the plan looks at how we can guide private redevelopment along the corridor to be more compact, walkable, and transit-oriented. The plan uses 3 existing sites as examples to help people visualize this type of development along the corridor. The goal is to provide residential housing directly on the corridor so that it's convenient for people living there to make the most of their daily trips without a car, whether to a nearby job or for day-to-day goods and services. Centering walkable development around the transit stations also allows residents to conveniently reach other destinations throughout the city utilizing transit. These strategies help us address our need for more housing, including affordable housing, and to provide more transportation choices for navigating our city. We hope you will visit ImagineLexington.com to review the full plan, to learn how to stay involved, and how you can support this plan as we work to make this vision a reality.
Many urban county government meetings are returning to in-person settings, but some are still happening virtually. We bring most of these meetings to you live. Check out our website for the most accurate and up-to-date coverage of meetings and city business. We also continue to keep you updated on how the city is handling the pandemic via our official COVID-19 response website. This includes testing and vaccination sites. Just simply click on the banner at the top of our homepage to learn more. That's all for now, but as always, you can keep up with us on social media and also check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter at LexRex, or catch our live traffic cams on lexingtonky.gov. For all of us at Lex TV, I'm Tim Gipson, and that's it for now. Have a great day.